Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and today in the arena we are launching the Dimir color challenge. Dimir did in fact win the poll on my YouTube community page. Do check that out. If you want to vote in my polls and help decide what we make here on the channel, hit the subscribe button and you should see them just pop up in your subscriptions feed, my posts. So yeah. Do check that out. But the winner was Dimir. It was a very close. So just so you know where we're going with the color challenge, we're doing the friendly guilds. That is the allied colors like blue and black, red and green. Those were the kind of things I put up for vote. People left me comments like, why no Boros? Because we'll do enemy colors after we do the 5 friendly colors. But Dimir, there is no Dimir deck really right now in the meta. Nothing competitive. So I set out to work on and build it myself, especially here for Best of One, where the main targets we know in the format are pretty well known. There's OKO and Nissa primarily running the format. So I tried to build a Dimir deck that could keep up and do some battle with them. I'll explain some of the cards. We're really a Lochmere Serpent deck, and we lean heavily on Enter the God Eternals. The main comment I think I'll see is, why are there no Cry of the Canarium, this card, and no Ritual Soot, no Sweepers? No AoEs. Why am I not running those in my so-called control deck? I think that these cards are very bad right now. I think if you tap out for a sweeper at sorcery speed, the opponent will untap and play a hasty card like a questing beast, or a planeswalker you can't really deal with like an OKO, which can probably also make something into an elk and attack you hastily, or a Nissa, which just runs away with the game. And I think that you fall so far behind playing sorcery speed tempo that you just can't really do it. Also, I have some creatures myself that I don't want to kill. Brazen Borrower and Murderous Rider, which end up as bodies on the battlefield plenty with this deck. So, in order to keep from getting run over by aggro, we have some early Disfigures and Tyrant Scorns. Brazen Borrower and Murderous Rider help with this a lot, although Murderous Rider, you really want to be careful what you use it on, because it hits Planeswalkers as well. And Enter the God Eternals, 4 copies to help stabilize the board. This deck requires judgment. You have to size up what your opponent plays and how your deck removes it, and then try to find the right removal spell for the job. And it's pretty tricky, but finding things that line up well with Enter the God Eternals and getting to cast this can absolutely swing the game. The life, the 4/4, the dead, hopefully 4/4 creature on the opponent's side, and you mill yourself. When you mill yourself with this deck, you can put Chemister's Insights into your graveyard, but you can also find your win con, which is Lochmere Serpent. This 7/7 flash for 6 can be returned from the graveyard to your hand for 2 mana if you have 5 cards to exile from an opponent's graveyard. There are cases where you have Lochmere Serpent in your graveyard. You can mill your opponent with Enter the God Eternals to make sure they have a full a graveyard that Lochmere can use, but most of the time you mill yourself. Again, judgment. You have to find the right time for the right things. And I think I'm gonna tell you a secret now. I've already recorded this event. I'm re-recording this intro because of how the event went. I want to tell you some things up front. 1, this is a very good event. 2, there are some very long games, and I wanted to make absolutely sure that I could put as many games in as possible. So I have to cut some games. I'm going to cut the losses. I start this event 0-2, and I'm going to cut those 2 right away. And I'll tell you quickly what happened. It's not because I'm hiding that I lost. It's because this is going to be too long of a video anyway. So the first 2 games, one I played against a deck I just call Pain. It was a Wilderness Reclamation Leyline of Anticipation deck that I think I should have beaten, but I flooded out. I drew almost 2/3 of my deck without finding Chemister's Insights, without finding Lochmere Serpent. It was ugly, and I eventually lost to a very large Hydroid Krasis and a huge overflow of cards. The second loss was to Simic Flash. There are few ways to lose that are more annoying than Simic Flash. I was definitely annoyed, and it was basically a perfect draw where they had 3 creatures, like 2 Brazen Borrowers that were pumped up, and a Spectral Sailor, and counterspells to back it up on turn 4, and I was on the draw and I didn't have a play till turn 3, so they were just way ahead before I could even try to interact. So I'm cutting both of those to make time for the rest of the video, because both games did take a long time because we're playing control. So just being honest with you about that. We're going to start this video in an 0-2 hole and with me regretting all my life choices, and then we're going to try to work it back, and I think you're going to enjoy these games. Thank you for watching this video. Let's dive in. Let's let the nonsense begin. We need the full redemption arc. 0-2. 0-2 in 2 games where I just feel completely screwed. It happens. We've all been there. How do we respond? Can't keep this. Too slow. This is not a lot better, but I'll give it a try. I'll need a lot out of this negate. I need to be able to slow my opponent down from just running me over. The opponent took a mulligan as well. The serpent, you have to go away. Not right now. So what's it gonna be? Who's gonna run me over this time? Temple Garden. Well, the last time that happened, things went really bad for me. Okay. We're playing Drago. 4 islands. Now the opponent has nothing here. And we're straight to Chemistry's Insight. This is looking too good for me. Opponent's got a bad draw. Well, I know how that goes. I've been there. We'll get the chemisters going. Time wipe discard. May as well have our mana open. We don't know what we're going to need to do. And I don't think that the shock is going to hurt me too badly here. And I like having the double black just as something to make the opponent think. Here is a Senate Guild Mage. Okay. I mean, I don't know. They have rare lands, but then they play a Senate Guild Mage, and they had a time wipe. I don't know. Just an odd choice. Keep the untapped lands up. We might want 2 chemisters and negate here. Guild Mage returns, because why not? You put it in your deck, might as well play it. Go ahead and get rid of the pain lands. Our colors are okay. There's the serpent. We don't, let's see, we do have a negate. And we have it open. We may as well use this. Mill ourselves, try to hit some more flashback cards, more serpents. Although I have all of that right now. Maybe I just mill my opponent to get more information about what their deck does. Deputy of Detention. Okay, you got the army. That takes out the army and it won't come back. So do I prepare for a Lockmere? I think I am going to enter the God Eternal, mill them. What is going on? Oh, land. Wow, I just hit 4 land in a row and they just drew 1 last turn as well. Shuffler is fine, everybody. Shuffler is absolutely fine. Tribunal can negate you. And this is lethal. We can enter the God Eternals ourselves. Our own army. It does work. Since all those effects take effect at the same time, it's a good way to get an extra hasty 4 damage in. Right, we have early interaction and then late stuff. So let's see what happens. Temple Gardens out in force today. I want the option to disfigure this turn, so I'm going to lead on the untapped swamp. It may price me into paying 2 life with this watery grave, but I think having the options to cast your spells are worth it. This format is tempo. I've said it on stream. I think I've said it on YouTube plenty of times. It's hard to remember everything I say where, but this format is all tempo. And that is a really annoying card to see when you're holding up removal. Just easily one of the most annoying things. But we'll see. If the opponent uses it, you better bet I plan to disfigure it. And our opponent has Bant colors right now. And no plays. Okay. I will play this land and say go. Sounds good. This Drago thing works out well for me. We tap for the growth spiral. Well, we're gonna disfigure that. That's going away. Get that out of there. Castle Garenbrig. So we know we're up against a Hydroid Krasis deck, and those are a pain. Because Hydroid Krasis gains so much value. So Chemister's Insight has to help us keep up. Thankfully we have 2 of them. It also means, like when you see Castle Garenbrig, the thing is when the opponent plays their Krasis on 6, instead of being a 4/4, it'll be a 5/5 because they'll use the castle and they have to make blue mana, which is really bad for Enter the God Eternals. It is not cool. Another spiral. Okay. Yeah, we're going to need to find an answer to a Krasis quickly. Quickly. We have Murderous Rider as our primary. Yeah, I don't have anything for you right now either. But if you make an Elk, I can enter some God Eternals, which are pretty good against Elks. Tyrant Scorn is good against the Krasis too. So let's get another island so that we're closer to activating the castle. And let's get the cards flowing. Murderous Rider. Nice. Something for OKO. And we can do it before OKO makes an Elk, or we can let OKO make an Elk so we can enter the God Eternals on something. What's the play? Brazen Borrower is also rock solid against an Elk. The thing is, what beats us for sure is Nissa. So I want to make sure that we can Murderous Rider and Nissa if the opponent goes for that. They got this through counter magic, or, you know, they might have perceived whether or not I play counter magic. Brazen Borrower is also good on an army if the opponent steals it with the frickin', what is the card? Mass Manipulation, Agent of Treachery. Those are things you usually see in the Bant version that also runs Growth Spiral. And they pick a Goose. That's a good target for all kinds of removal. Alright, we're elking.
Your new look is enchanting.
Let's go get another black. Let's go ahead and use a Petty Theft to take this Elk out. Okay, here's a Goose. Let's go ahead and swiftly end this OKO. So now our adventure creatures are lined up where Borrower can come out and start attacking other planeswalkers when the time comes. We have another passage here. Let's go ahead and get an island. And do I just take out this Goose? On 6? Am I better off drawing cards? Am I better off getting a board presence? Options. So many options. I could Tyrant Scorn the Goose, but I like saving that for the Krasis. I like saving the Enter the God Eternals for something more threatening. I think we let the Goose be. Right now, it's potentially another card out of Krasis, but that's as threatening as it gets. Let's pass and plan to draw cards. The look of a person with a counter is sometimes as good as having a counter, and we could always draw into negate. That is absolutely horrible. They must have just drawn that, or they would have played it before. Ooh, not a good time for a Sinister Sabotage. So I'm still lacking a good option for taking on this Goose, or for taking on a Hydroid Krasis, so I have to keep holding this Scorn rather than snap it off here. We can bounce a Murderous Rider and kill the Teferi. That is all of our mana. If the opponent pluses here, though, that might be the play, because this is too much. This is a big problem. And it shuts down our Amass 4 from Enter the God Eternals with the bounce. Like, wow.
Might be a bad idea.
Okay. I could just try to Brazen Borrow it then. Yeah, I can put out the Brazen... Well, I can Chemisters and then put out the Brazen Borrower. since I can't counter and do anything instant speed anyway. And we'll see if the opponent has a way to deal with this. They have a lot of cards in hand. I imagine they have something strong. But I don't want to jump straight to Murderous Rider, bounce Murderous Rider, kill Teferi, when I can try to pressure it in another way, because I still have to be able to kill Nissa. Nissa's a problem. Don't know if you've met Nissa. Nissa is a big problem. If the opponent here plays a Hydroid Krasis, we can Tyrant Scorn it, and then we can enter the God Eternals or Brazen Borrow the Goose and get the Teferi off the field. At least that's a start. Okay. I told you Nissa would be around. See, this play is 5, 6, 8 mana. 8 mana to kill a Nissa. Ugh. Not great. But you can't let the opponent have the Nissa. It's just too much. Reading my Brazen Borrower. Yeah, it flies. It definitely flies. Jesus. Okay. Well, when you got it all, you got it all, everybody. Now I have to figure out how to beat it. So I think it's just kill Nissa. I don't think that that is up for any debate. And it sucks because it takes my whole turn. It's not a great turn. But we do what we must. Almost cast the wrong side there. And Teferi gets to keep being Teferi for the foreseeable ever.
Let's try this.
Now this is the part where it feels like the opponent plays Nissa number 2. Because that's the most tilting thing that can happen to me. And that just seems like it happens way more often than I'd enjoy. What are you doing? I think this is another Nissa. I think it really is. Oh no, Krasis. So we had to use the darn Tyrant Scorn. We're gonna need another. We've gotten to see all these cards, but our opponent has just apparently seen better cards than we have. And you can just see how behind we are. We're just dead next turn. So how do we live? I think it has to involve Enter the God Eternals. It can get us a Brazen Borrower by killing the Deputy. That's not particularly great. 6, 7, 8, 9. We don't have enough to double. We don't have enough to double. Using this Thought Erasure to at least get in the opponent's hand and figure something out is okay. So we can borrow something, we can God Eternal something. So let's start here. Another Krasis is pretty bad. The God Eternals gets taken out by a Deputy. It can also be mass manipulated. But I think it just has to be the Krasis. If we let the Krasis stand, we can't win. Alright. So I need to clean up both of these threats. I have the means, I suppose. This also gains life. God, I hate the auto tapper here when I'm definitely not using my castle anyway. So I think it's the land. And I mill myself, because there's always resources I could put in the graveyard, even though my graveyard is full of stuff like this. There's a Lochmere Serpent. And then Brazen Borrower. What do? You can just bounce this Krasis and try to keep the pressure off me? Yeah, I guess that's it. As much as you hate bouncing a Hydroid Krasis. Maybe we can draw into another... Maybe we can draw into another Thought Erasure before the opponent recasts it. Opponent definitely needs more blue, or they'll never cast their Mass Manipulation. So here we go. Yeah, this game really spiraled from the moment they drew the Teferi. And they drew it at the perfect time too. 1 turn ahead of my Sinister Sabotage. And 1 mana short. It's just that kind of day. Oh. Okay. And again, the 5/5, not even going for the last card here. It's just so weird. Playing perfectly around the Enter the God Eternals does the Garen break. God, it hurts. It just hurts, you guys. So we could take out the Deputy, make an 8/8, and attack the Teferi. The opponent will block it with a Goose. Doesn't exactly achieve a lot. We're on 10 mana now. There's definitely some better draws we could make. So I think we start with Chemister's Insight to see what we find. A Sinister Sabotage can go, since Teferi is never going anywhere. Disfigure. God, it's been a rough one. Alright. Well, let's see what the opponent does about this attack. If they block with the Hydroid Krasis, we can enter the God Eternals at after combat. We can also pay 2 life to disfigure a Goose. Feels pretty bad. We can also disfigure after combat, enter the God Eternals, the Deputy. I think that's better. Ooh, alright. So, you die. And there's still 5 here, right? No, 6. Alright, so I want a Thought Erasure. Maybe we just need to do that first, but I definitely think I'm killing this thing. Agent of Treachery, huh? No. No. I'm not getting rid of that Teferi, like, ever. Alright. Disfigure this Hydroid Krasis. This Lochmere Serpent is no good against a Mass Manipulation, so don't get any good ideas there. We can play another Brazen Borrower, or we can play a Murderous Rider. The opponent can adopt either one. Do I have a preference? I think they're more likely to Deputy the other Borrower. But yeah, and this with a Tyrant Scorn is removal for the Teferi, so I don't want to expose it. Sometimes the fight is all we have. Bon Jovi said, you live for the fight when it's all that you've got. I don't think we have a realistic chance in this game, but I will fight.
Here we go.
And there's your Paradise Druid. There's your Deputy. Yep. Taking the Borrower. Mass Manipulation is online, and it can be instant speed because of the Time Raveler. Down to 10. And another land. So this is the last card. We'll need another Thought Erasure. Look at that. Or we need another Sinister Sabotage now. Something to stop this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not great. Against Mass Manipulation, though, it's certain doom. Blue, blue, blue. Yeah. So we need to draw an answer to the Mass Manipulation before we do really anything else. And we're going to use up our mana. So I have no problem with this. Maybe not all that blue. Maybe one black can get in there. There's a negate. 1, 2, 3, destroy that. But then I only have 2 mana left. It's not good. If the opponent Mass Manipulates this, I die, right? No, it's 6, not 8. Alright, well. Or do I do this? Maybe I just stock up on more permanents right now. Or if I just put this out and they steal it, that's pretty big, nasty swing. But it's something I can do. The opponent might just bounce it with the Teferi. Would they cast Mass Manipulation just on this Murderous Rider? I'm going to gamble that they won't. If they do, it's out of the hand, and at least I have something. If I don't play the Murderous Rider there, then they know something is up. We can also get back the Lochmere. Don't think it really matters what we take. Their deck isn't graveyard focused. So I need a turn.
Close-minded.
I need one turn, and I need them to be stingy with mass manipulation. The next turn we can Rider the thingy. The Teferi. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Enter the God Eternals and negate the mass manipulation. But I do need them to be stingy. And of course draw a blank. You have to draw a blank too. But I think that part of it is I just got back the Lochmere Serpent. Maybe they think they need to save a way to steal it. The right play is to be hella aggressive here. They draw the castle. Ugh. The grind continues. This one Murderous Rider does blank their attacks. Let's see what they do. Plussing the Teferi.
No, I am not making this up as I go.
I've been under Teferi lock for so long, I forget what the world out there is like. Ooh. I don't know about that. With the 2 life gain, that's not worth it. And yeah, and they are being stingy with the mass manipulation. They figure I've got this castle now. I can just activate that. All right, end you. I could go for Lochmere Serpent. It flashes in now. And this can still be cast at instant speed until end of turn. Let's play the other Murderous Rider. Well, no, if we do that, we can't play the Lochmere this turn. I think we just sit. May as well play out my land. Eventually, I might discard something like that to a Chemister's Insight, but not right now. And opponent doesn't go for end-step mass manipulation, do they? No, they go for a Scry. All right. What do you got? The problem there is if they get another Nissa or something, but the good thing is that Lochmere has Flash. They know about it. It can be unblockable. It is an Elk to OKO, so OKO is like the worst thing that could happen. The problem with this castle and all this land is we're behind now. We're going to stay behind. Our opponent's going to find Crassus and Planeswalkers very often for the rest of the game. So I don't know how we overcome that. And they're still at 25, so it's not like I can tempo them out. Jesus. Okay, Lochmere can kill it at instant speed. That's what we need to do before it can become an Elk, but it does price Lochmere into attacking. Elking some food, sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can't flash in the Serpent. Well, yeah, we can. Yeah, we can. That's how negate works. Roar. Take that, Elk. And I think we're going to see this mass manipulation. But the opponent, I mean, maybe they have the read that I have a counter. There has been a Teferi on the board for frickin' ever. No. No. Absolutely not. And just like that, we might be in the lead. Let's make a black here and draw a card. I've got a lot of land. I don't want to give up too many, but I do need more resources. I need to fight this fight. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Sacrifice an island. We also need to keep hitting land drops because this Lochmere Serpent needs to be a boss. Take that OKO down. Okay, so feel like Enter the God Eternals on a Deputy of Detention is great. Then we still have this mana open, which is probably fine. We can bounce our Murderous Rider with the Tyrant Scorn to take out a Planeswalker when it gets top-decked. How's it in Library? 31, 20. And I've cast all my Chemister's Insights. I do have one more Lockmere Serpent I could get, though. I think it's still me. I mill myself here. And we miss on the goodies, which is tragic, but we'll take it, I suppose. Brazen Borrower is ready to rumble. Sinister Sabotage is ready to go. Hydroid Krasis is a hand refill I can't counter. So let's not do that. Please, let's not do that. Do they run any instant speed? No. It looks like they're all on the battlefield sorcery speed, creatures and planeswalkers. So I don't need to worry about whether or not to use Castle at the end of turn, I don't think. We won't have some out of nowhere card. Okay, so the opponent can make a 3/3. It doesn't get around this. They have all this mana for one turn, but I can do the Murderous Rider trick, which I think that's what we do. This has to save now for like mass manipulation. Also, Lockmere Serpent can just kill it.
Be wary of the ground you walk.
At the cost of a land. Let's see. Pretty much need to hit my land drop here going forward. So if I see 2 lands, I might even keep one. Chemister's Insight into the other. Keep 2. Opponent is sitting on my scry. Why would you do this? Okay, another Murderous Rider. Pretty good. We'll keep that on top. We'll draw this land. We have other things to do with our mana this turn. But yeah, more Murderous Riders can't be too bad. And Nissa gets smashed. This goes to face. Could attack with you, but I don't think it's worth it. This turn will also develop the other Murderous Rider.
Fight on without me.
If the opponent can't establish a Planeswalker, how do they win? If I also keep their giant Crassuses dead, how do they win? They deck me? I am on 15 cards. Alright, let's see if they can keep the good cards coming. I'm surprised they didn't make sure they got to use a castle there. Alright, and another scry. Deck just doesn't run out of things, does it? Like never. Never happened to the bottom. Okay. So this 3/3, oh, they're gonna scoop it up from here? I guess they don't see the way to win, and they're not going to sit in there and try to deck me. 15 turns is a long time to take a serpent beating. I'm just dead to something aggressive. I have to mulligan this hand. Okay. Yeah, I gotta try it. The opponent's going off over there. They're so excited to see CGB, but I'm in game mode. I'll shoot a hello, but I am not feeling it. Alright, I want that Chemister's Insight back. I couldn't be sure I would draw the land, and I didn't know what I was playing against. So tough. So tough with these mulligans. And all these basic lands, you just don't know what's going to happen. So, Jund colors, what does it mean? It means Beanstalk Giant. Some kind of a Rampy Bamps? The heck? Maybe it's Adventure. Adventure is a tough matchup. Thought Erasure. Do I play it? I think I save it. I save it It would have been great last turn, but now I save it because I have Sabotage. We wait till the Sabotage is spent. Because if you thought erase and you see two things that you would want to counter and your mana's tapped, you don't get to do it. Yeah, this can't happen. No 5-mana draw 5s, please. Alright. Well, it's all up to Thought Erasure now. Drawing Negate would have been nice. I think we do this. I think that Chemist's Insight isn't a good option. Trophy, Rider, yep. This is working out. We can throw the Lockmere in the bin. We can get it back at some point. We made our way through both Escape to the Wilds, which is clearly what the deck is about. Exile top 5, you may play them this turn, you may play an additional land. It's a ton of value. All right, now we can start holding up counter magic. The opponent's sitting on an option to what? Assassin's Trophy my land? Not great. Another Beanstalk. Yep. These not going to the graveyard is a little bit of a tilt, because I will have to deal with them eventually, and they are big. What is my best card to kill them? Murderous Rider? Counterspell? I think so. Because they're going to be huge. It's important to try to identify what your removal spells hit and what doesn't hit it as soon as possible, so you know what to save things for. Or at least try to dig for. Like your Scries, your Surveils. You understand so much better of what to do when you identify what does and doesn't kill the threat you are going to face. Okay, Disfigure plus Enter the God Eternal still doesn't do it. Ugh. Bouncing it just makes them play the other side of it again and make it bigger. Is it Giant time? If it were Shadowverse, I'd say Magna time, but nobody plays Shadowverse but me, apparently. Ooh. Okay. Opponent's a little cowardly with this, and maybe they're playing around like a Liliana's Triumph. They're nervous. But when you let me have time, so I think that you definitely play a Giant there if you're ever in the opponent's position. If you let me have time, what I'm going to do is draw more cards. And when I draw more cards, I'm more likely to find the answer. Or just land. Land can be found too. So do I want this in the graveyard? Or do I want this Brazen Borrower on the field? I think Brazen Borrower has to slow down a Giant. So that's Brazen Borrower's role. You can also bounce Brazen Borrower to replay Brazen Borrower to slow down a Giant. Oh my god. This is getting unnerving. Let's go ahead and use this as an Enter the God Eternals target. We can put cards into our opponent's graveyard with the Serpent. What do I want more of? I want more swamps, because I'm going to have to draw cards with this Serpent. And target you. Fill your graveyard, as much as I'd love to bin a Chemist's Insight. Garruk. Ugh. Now I have this 4/4, which the opponent can probably just kill. But let's get back our Lockmere now. And exile your toys. Don't think it really matters which. Don't suppose you'd like to Assassin's Trophy my 4/4, would you? I could use the ramp. Don't have enough land, as you can see. I mean, Lockmere is a thirsty girl. She needs a lot of islands. A lot of swamps. Alright, it's Giant time. Scorn, keep slowing him down. Alright. I definitely want to play my Lockmere Serpent, so we're going to play an untapped land here. And we're going to Petty Theft the Giant, holding up 6 for the Serpent. We're going to jam in, get 4 points out of this. And that's a nice little tempo. I feel like the opponent definitely should have used a Murderous Rider or an Assassin's Trophy to kill this. I feel like they were trying to be greedy and brick wall with the Beanstalk Giant. Might be a little too ambitious. And now they're ramping with the Giant. not enough to replay Giant yet. If I jam the Lockmere Serpent, they only have 2 cards in the grave. So they can just kill it immediately at no value. Oh, this I do not agree with. But it's fine. It's fine. You do you. Let's get more swamps. We might have to sacrifice a bunch of them to the Serpent to refill our hand. All right. So this is now 3. I play this. This goes to Adventure. I could wait one more turn and be able to bounce my own Lockmere Serpent. And I think that's just better. Let's go ahead and run out the Brazen Borrower. This is where having that information of the opponent's hand is so useful. Thank you, Thought Erasure. The Flood is real. We have to turn all these lands into cards, or as many as possible with our Serpent. Cry. Well, do we bounce this? I think so. Those Beanstalk Giants aren't going to stop coming. Opponent could try to Murderous Rider in response. It is an option. It's not one I would recommend. It does turn loose the Lockmere Serpent, and I think they see that. 4 cards in the graveyard. This is all so that I know whether or not to save my Lockmere Serpent or just get it back. And the opponent is passing the turn. I do have 8 mana. Let's put you out there. If the opponent goes for the Murderous Rider, this is a great opportunity to bounce the Lockmere Serpent and have their Murderous Rider not go to Adventure Zone. And we definitely want our Serpent down before their Giants can start attacking us, so the tempo here is pretty critical. We want our Serpent able to attack before their next Giant is able to attack. Of course, Brazen Borrower is still ready for the Giant job. Ooh. How good is this card? I actually don't think it can be very good. And we can Brazen Borrower and then Thought Erasure a Beanstalk Giant, so I think we just hang on to you. This is probably a turn where we play Lockmere Serpent and draw some cards. Yeah, here we go. I could play the Serpent and try to draw into a counter, but I don't think we want to expose this to sorcery speed removal. It's unclear what that might be from the opponent. And here, I'm not going to sacrifice all these lands. So there's no reason to tap all my blue. Here's your Serpent. Oh, the opponent has something else for it. No! Not like this. Another trophy. Well, that one's going to resolve, even if I draw a counter, because I can exile the graveyard and get this back. The question now is how much of this to do. And I definitely want to do some. Rider. Rider is great for the Beanstalk Giant. But I still have the Borrower Thought Erasure combo that I like a lot. Let's at least... Well, nah, let's not. We can do this later. We can do this later, team. We don't need to do it now. Because we're going to be getting you back. I definitely have enough swamps now. We did the job on the swamps. Let's go ahead. Petty Theft here, the Giant. Stick to the plan. Another Serpent is nice. Thought Erase. Get your Giant. It's a Ritual of Soot. There's another Murderous Rider there. Excellent. Is there a world where we would just want to pay 2 life and be able to do everything? 9, 10. I think that's too much. Don't think we need to do that. Alright. Do I get this back now? I may as well. No, I can play Borrower and Serpent here, and if it's still in the graveyard, the opponent might relax, or they might think I'm going to make a different play. Or they might think I bungled it because this is not instant speed, but I do know that. That is something. It has to be played as a sorcery. This is something I messed up on this card many times at first. Okay. All right, end step. Let's put out the Borrower. Let's put out the Serpent. And we are definitely pulling away now. Swiftly end you. We can put another Lochmere Serpent into our hand. Actually, we probably want to get both of the giants, just in case our opponent has whatever the card is. Midnight Rider? Order of the Midnight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we'll just replay you rather than play a 2/3 that can die to the Ritual set. And that will take out the Brazen Borrower, but not the mighty Lochmere Serpent. There's a Questing Beastie. Sure. I guess we can go Ambush Serpent. And that's game. All right. His hand is slow, but we have a lot of 2-drops. We are on the play. I think it's a keep. And we're going to open with a Passage, and I think it's for a black source, since I have more black symbols. Well, I guess I have the same number. I don't know. Not sure, to be honest. But I could double spell earlier if I have double black, as in Disfigure and Thought Erasure in the same turn if I needed something of that nature. This is the true redemption game. This win would give me 4 wins after starting 0-2, so I would get my money back, and the never give up, never surrender attitude would live. Let's go straight to Thought Erasure Town. Being on the play makes that so much easier. And look what we're up against. Well, that Dawn of Hope's a problem, isn't it? I hate this card. I hate it so much, but people still play it, and it is still a big threat to a deck like mine. And that can go in the bin. Nice to see you there. That is good. Doom Foretold, Oath of Kaya, very frustrating cards. We're gonna need land. Can we do it? Can we draw the land? I should probably make sure I have blue mana available next turn just in case I draw Sinister Sabotage, so we will fetch now. Tempting not to, though. Alright. We're okay. We're okay for now. This doesn't appear to have blue mana, so it might not be Dance of the Mans. I guess we'll find out here from this Fabled Passage. There has been a black-white Doom Foretold deck going around, and this appears to be it. So playing the Borrower here is just kind of a bad play. We want to save it for Doom Foretold. That's the card we most want to borrow. If we run it out here, it gets Oath of Kaya, it gets doomed. All these bad things. Disfigure is basically blank cardboard, so I'll just discard this if I have to discard something, but okay. Well, hang in there. Their deck doesn't win quickly. All right. I wonder if I even want to straight up cast a Chemisters. Here comes the Doom Foretold. That is fine. I will just borrow it. And now Oath of Kaya in my face. So this is, they're trying to set up just in case I play something at flash speed here. So we'll go Petty Theft. You're Doom Foretold. They're not doing anything with their mana anyway, so it's not like the tempo is that great, but I did get them to spend an Oath of Kaya on my face. And Brazen Borrow is pretty good against their Doom Foretold. Can always flash stuff in. Do I want to pay 2 life here? It gives me more options. But life could matter. The amount of Oath of Kaias that are going to be cast on me, and the fact that this does 2 life, lose 2 life, is pretty bad. And it's not like the life gain is going to be there from Enter the God Eternals. Our opponent just doesn't play that many creatures. That castle might get annoying, but they still have to empty their hand for it to be an effective card. Alright, so what happens? This gets sacrificed. I have to discard a card. Yeah, it is too much value for me. Let's go ahead and petty theft it again. This is going great. I'm getting cards into my adventure zone so I don't overdraw my hand with my Chemist's Insight. It's fabulous. I do think my opponent probably has multiple Doom Fortolds based on this play pattern, though. But let's negate it. It is a lot of value. Their deck is built to kill a lot of things. But we're the control deck with counters. We should be okay if we can keep them from getting too much value. Another dead disfigure, probably. There is a Thought Erasure. Let's get them. They're trying to set something up. They have a Cavalier of Dawn, which gets an enchantment from the graveyard to the hand. Yeah, that's too much value. That has to go. And this can go. How is this graveyard? 4 cards. Getting close to Lockmere time. And their hand is... it doesn't do much. Wow. Wow. They just ripped that right off the top, didn't they? What a god. I can just discard the disfigure. The opponent draws a card. They get a knight. I can kill the knight easy enough. Okay, fine. Or I discard something else I draw with the Chemist's Insight because I'm discarding the disfigure. Fine. Another Lockmere. Oh, that's very discardable. Now you have a 2/2. Brazen Borrower is a good solution to that. We got 5 cards there. Let's get them. Now I'm that graveyard. Keep that Cavalier of Dawn from being good. Play this castle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What do I most want to get cast here? What do I want to happen? The opponent can swift end their own thing to keep me from getting a Murderous Rider if they like, and that's really annoying. So it's probably more about the Brazen Borrower, but could be about the Tyrant Scorn. Well, I also have this Lockmere Serpent I can flash in. Maybe it's about that. The opponent kills it. Oh, wow. Oh, now I definitely have an opening here if I want it. But I like leaving up this. But the opponent has all this removal for it. It's going to take forever for it to be good. Let's just petty theft you. And we do it there so that the opponent can't Murderous Rider it in response. Bellhaunt's annoying. But we can just discard the Lockmere Serpent. It's going to be so long before Lockmere Serpent does anything. Alright, my turn. Let's go ahead and ride or die here. And the opponent does not Murderous Rider their own thing. I guess they see that I have a pile of stuff over here that I'm working on. We'll go ahead and play you. The Tyrant Scorn's getting it back could be fun. And yeah, the opponent's quick to fire this off. This is really good. Returning this to our hand keeps their Murderous Rider in the graveyard and not in their adventure zone. This game is all micro advantage. Oh, no. I don't think so. I don't think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. It would have been a lot of life, but the Brazen Borrower wouldn't have been lethal. So, if I could have Flash in Borrower and had lethal, it would have been nice there, but wouldn't have been good enough. Let's hit you again. You're the most annoying thing to play around right now. Having more of you doesn't hurt me very much. Face? Opponent's just trying to burn me out. They see the Borrowers. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird. What do they have? And they don't... I guess they're trying to unload their hand to use the castle more. Okay. Well, now they're looking at Cry of the Canarium and a Kaya's Wrath. So that's a good reason not to play 2 Borrowers. And just wear them down. By the way, they turned the Serpent back on with that Oath of Kaya play. Does that make it a bad play? Okay, your turn. And they are still drawing off that castle. We can probably turn this life thing around pretty quick. They're castling again without casting a sweeper first, and they're going for a Bellhaunt. Well, we can discard the Serpent, or we can play the Serpent, but until they get rid of the Kaya's Wrath, it doesn't do much. And I'll just keep filling their graveyard, it's fine. The long game is me. So what I really want to do next is have another counterspell. So I'm going to use the castle to try to find one. Those are 2 cards I'm happy to bottom. Wow, the 4th Murderous Rider. I may as well Murderous Rider this now, right? Don't think it costs me anything. Oops. Well, if I oops again, they're just going to think I'm being even more BME than I didn't even mean to do that oops. I was just trying to tap my land. That's probably something to keep in mind. That's not something I've thought of. I think that's the first time I've made that mistake, but your opponent might just be trying to tap their land. Now here they have the castle. This changes things a little. They can make an army to keep pressuring me, but they're still not going for the Cry. All right. Well, should I dig for a counterspell like I just did, or should I double down my Borrower? I think we definitely turn off the castle if we get them low enough. Let's go for it. Besides, we have a Tyrant Scorn to bounce one of them. Okay, now they make a token. That is a pretty good payoff when they make a token. Okay, they make the token anyway. You'd have to think they plan to sweep here. So maybe they plan to attack me once, then sweep. It's fine. Return target creature to owner's hand. I choose you. 1 blue mana short. Well, no. Blue, blue, 1. Blue, blue, 1. I can play both Borrowers here, which is lethal potentially. The opponent would have to have instant speed interaction. Let's see what they do. Okay, they at least see that they do have to Oath of Kaya here, and this gets me to 2. Ugh. Did they have double Oath of Kaya? That would be all 4, right? They draw their 4th Oath of Kaya? That would be a heartbreaker. I'm not gonna lie. Find me a river. Not yet. Okay. Can get the opponent to 2. We draw the Sabotage. Wow. So I attack my opponent down to 2. I enter the God Eternal my own Brazen Borrower. Gain the life. If they have instant speed removal, I guess I have a counter. I do feel like I should buff my life total. If I have the option, I should do it. Just in case, that 4th Oath of Kaya. And let's see what happens. We also got our opponent down to 2, so they can't interrupt us with a Murderous Rider of their own. And here comes a token. Down to the wire, my friends. Did they draw another? No, they did not. Whew. Oh, my lord. What a game. And we got back to 4 wins after the start we had. Holy cow. Holy cow. I guess this hand is fine. I'm nervous about not having second black, but I do have early interaction if the opponent comes out guns blazing. It's kind of weird to read that. I think I'm paying 2 life here. I want to have Disfigure available. Okay, didn't turn out to be too necessary. Wilderness Reclamation, possibly. Let's see what's going on. Ooh, this deck. All Planeswalkers. Well, the Disfigure is looking bad, but there will be Gooses eventually. Murderous Rider can kill something. Brazen Borrower is okay against something. I think we just take... Negate would have been nice. I don't know. I think I just take the Questing Beast. The opponent plays one of the Scions, and the next turn they definitely play the Beast, right? And then what do we do? I can't really formulate a good plan against this hand because the Scions are going to come down next turn. If we had been on the play, we'd be in a great position. I think holding up Negate that way would have been so bad, but here we are. I think I've got to take the threat and then try to figure out how to beat the Scions. We can hope that our opponent discards a Scion to a Scion, but with this many land, they probably won't. Probably won't. This is going to be rough. And this deck runs, what, like 20 Planeswalkers? Okay, like 12 or something. Or 15? Yeah, I think it's 15, actually. 3 Sarkans and then 12 3-mana Planeswalkers. Do I pay the life here? I think so. Need my options. Need to have all the good options. I can Rider this on end step, then negate the next one if the opponent doesn't do anything.
I enjoy the proper application of knowledge.
And what are you discarding? Alright. Well, their draws haven't been great. But they have seen twice as many cards than we have, thanks to this card. Let's see if they pass the turn. Oh, you're telling me there's a chance.
Spirit triumphs this day.
That's not Chemister's insight, but I'll take it. Alright, we need to hold up the negate. What are you? You're so much loyalty. Like, just playing a Brazen Borrower and beating it down you'd think would be okay, but it's not. But I will just play a Brazen Borrower. Just to have a board presence here. I think we need to have something out. We're drawing the land. We're getting towards the Serpent. That's a big deal. But yeah, having some creatures out can keep the opponent off their Royal Scion plan, which is where this deck is different from other Dimir control lists that may have only had like a God Eternal Kefnet. Sometimes you just build your board so that the next Planeswalker you can attack. And that's what the adventure creatures give you an option to do. If there's removal here, I'm definitely not going to dance with it too much. Ooh, I could disfigure my own Borrower, but this is fine. I mean, these borrower games are just funny. Bounce my Borrower, now I can borrow your Borrower? I don't know. What are we doing here? So, is that a negatable card? I don't think so. On its own, it just loots. Now I'm working around like Sarkin and Nissa and OKO.
The greatest virtue.
Aye, with the knowledge to direct it. Let us plan for the trials ahead.
Once upon a time, sure. So Brazen Borrower does also have a really good target in Sarkin and the Sarkin's Dragon, but I also have Enter the God Eternals. I don't know if I just bounce this, but I may as well. Doesn't cost me much. That's not a land. Land for Lockmere would have probably been amazing there, as this deck struggles to deal with it. They can bounce it, but I can replay it at flash speed, so pretty strong. Meow, the life is annoying. I do think we'll just go ahead and negate it now. The opponent still has 3 cards in hand. They could be all Planeswalkers, but I'm sure we'll find a land in the top couple and be able to apply Lockmere Serpent pressure soon. At least I hope so. Okay. If OKO makes a food, we can attack OKO down to 1. If OKO then makes an elk, we can Enter the God Eternals it. So, like, what do you really do, OKO? I think this is fine, and I might regret this, but I think this is fine.
I'm certain you're quite charmed to meet me.
I'm gonna make you defend this card.
And all your cares are gone. Why do you cross me?
Why not? I have a battlefield presence, you don't. I think I can do this. Okay. So Domri's interesting, but it's another one we can attack. If this turns into an elk and then Domri wants to fight with that elk, the disfigure is like a massive blowout there. So this is fine. I might end up getting both of your planeswalkers. Notice the opponent can't cast their borrower because of Beacon. I think people really overvalue this card. I can't put a Planeswalker in a deck without having somebody say Interplanar Beacon. The Chandra's deck recently was an example. Healing is not the goal. You've got to be able to play your spells on time, in a good way. Ooh, just makes mana and says go. All right. What you got? Opponent's like, ooh, oh boy. It is something you can Brazen Borrow. Ooh, and we drew the land, so we can have negate and Enter the God Eternals. That's perfect. It's what we needed. This turn is about to get ugly. UGLY. They have got no alibi. They ugly. Let's make sure on OKO. I don't want to have to use this negate. Actually, let's send this to the Domri. If the opponent wants to bounce the Murderous Rider, it just kills a Planeswalker later. So the card that I'm thinking is that they have, they could have the Giant, the Bone Crusher Giant, or they could have the Brazen Borrower. Bounce, and if they want to save OKO from the Rider, bouncing this is great, and the Giant doesn't kill it. Okay, Borrow on the Serpent. We could counter this. As it is, we're taking Domri to 1 and we're killing OKO, so I think this is just fine. I want to save our negate for something that would break the game against us. And if the opponent is bouncing our Lockmere Serpent, they're not bouncing our 4/4 army token. So they either have another Brazen Borrower or their Judgment is a little... They're just too protective of their Planeswalkers right now, and that's game. They can't take it anymore. You can't watch them die. Our back is still very much against the wall. We are on the draw. We have 5 wins, which is great since an 0-2 start. We've had a 5-game win streak. It might come to an end, or it might not. Depends on if our opponent is playing a fast deck or a slow deck. Okay, here we go. Oh, wow. There's a lot of stuff there. No matter what, I think we just take either the spawn or the rankle, and I think the rankle's the best one because it has haste. Enter the God Eternal still hits spawn pretty hard. Disfigure, they might have small creatures I want to disfigure. They must, right? Otherwise, yeah, they must have like Dreadhorde Butcher and stuff. We'd keep Disfigure. If they have Spawn of Mayhem in their deck, they definitely have Knight of the Ebon Legion, things like that. So here comes a Murderous Rider. That is a wonderful target for an Enter the God Eternals. Let's go ahead and get the spawn away from them. Insight. We have the option to just bin it, though. What does next turn look like? We're not under enough pressure to really be worried about this. I'll draw the Insight, because next turn I think I'll just draw the cards. Unless the opponent somehow gets, like, the perfect card here. They need to draw a lot of pressure off the top of their deck. Knight is good. Knight is good. So now we'll have Disfigure ready here. If the opponent activates their Knight, which they probably will. We'll see what they draw. If that's the play that's happening anyway, if the plan is to disfigure this Knight, I'm just going to use this Thought Erasure now while I know it will hit something instead of let them empty their hand a bit. And try to put a land on top. Nice. For Enter the God Eternals. And this game fell apart really quickly for the opponent. There was just no pressure in that hand. It's a weird hand to keep. I guess maybe it's good against Simic. Like, Murderous Riders are good in a Planeswalker meta, of course. But that is one of the joys of this deck. Murderous Riders are not that good against us, as we've kind of shown a lot today. We've done a lot against Murderous Riders, and it's been okay. And there's Chemister's Insight in the graveyard, getting that sweet self-mill value, although we milled a host of awesome. And the opponent maybe drew another... What could this be? Bone Crush My Face. Okay. Well, if they play that, they're going to face an 8/8. Ugh. Yeah. This whole game is a big oomph for the opponent. It's like, who... Enter the God Eternals. Who goes ham on that card anymore? This guy. It's me. It's CGB. I go ham. People always bring this up. How did the opponent go to 8 from 24? It is a visual bug. It is a visual bug. You're still welcome to leave a comment. It helps the algorithm, but I like giving you the information if I can think to. We're on 6 wins in a row. We're going for win number 7. After starting 0-2, and after being in a horrible position against that Bant Planeswalker OKO ramp deck with Mass Manipulation in hand to Fairy on the board, I can't believe we're here, but we are. This hand is perfectly playable. Turn 2 Borrower, turn 3 Rider, turn 4 maybe Chemisters. It's got lots of value. Being on the draw is hard. We might just end up way behind before we know it, but we'll give it the best shot we've got. So Goose is here. If it's a turn 2 OKO, this is an absurd amount of thinking time to do it. But hey, you know, what can you do? What can you do, friends? Some people are going to take their time. It's an Overgrown Tomb. It's a Paradise Druid. Okay. It's an attacking 0-2 Goose, asserting dominance. So if Nissa comes down, we're going to want to bounce. We can bounce the Nissa, but then we still take 3. Is the best play just the tempo play? What we can do by that, is we can Borrower on the Goose, or we can Borrower on the food. If the opponent replays the Goose for 1, they immediately have a food available. I think that the thing that we do here is we take their food. That way the Goose can't tap for mana. And they might have to spend their turn using 2 mana to make another food. They might also have a sweet 4-drop to play, but at least we take them away from Nissa. Another Goose. Sure. So our opponent has mana creatures, but right now they have no payoff, which is right where I want them for the time being. And no attack. and a negate off the top. This is shaping up to be a game. It's hard to say you're favored when the opponent has this many mana creatures and they're on the play, because they might just double spell me. They might play something, get it countered, then play something else. But Murderous Rider really helps against that, because I can just let a lot of things resolve and then kill them on end step. Wicked Wolf with no food. Or, well, with food. But I have no way to bounce it. I think I have to counter that. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to deal with it. My best ways to deal with Wicked Wolf, I don't have many, to be honest. So, I need to hit my land drops here. I think it's really greedy to bin this, so I'm not going to. I definitely want my next 2 land drops very badly. Opponent considering this free, unquote, attack with the Paradise Druid, and it is. There's not much I can do about that Paradise Druid here. If I Murderous Rider it, the counter shields are completely down. So far, it looks like Sultai food without a blue source. It might be some kind of Golgari deck. Golgari Wolves, but I'm going to proceed as if it's an OKO deck. That is rude. That is extremely rude, but it is a play you can make. So, do I Rider this, or do I get my Insight cast? I think I get the Insight cast, because next turn I can Murderous Rider this. And if I draw a Tyrant Scorn, I'd rather do that. See, there we go. All right. I don't know if they main deck Veil of Summer. People do weird things in this meta, but let's just destroy it now while we can. So I like saving the Riders because they hit Plains Walkers. That simple. The Krasis, we really want to kill with Tyrant Scorn, because we really have 2 ways to do it. Murderous Rider and Tyrant Scorn, unless it's small enough to get hit by Enter the God Eternals. So this is not scary, but our opponent can make food at instant speed. I do think I can catch them with this Rider, though. I think that what they're going to do here is eventually they'll go for making the food. And when they go for the food, I'll kill this in response. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. All right, Borrower. Let's pressure your life total a little bit. It's pretty free. We need all the black sources available this turn for the Murderous Rider. We might need to double Murderous Rider to get rid of the wolf before the food comes online. So I am not, weirdly, I'm not going for the Thought Erasure. Now if they go for the food here, we kill the wolf. Okay, we got him. They could have waited and then had enough mana to make 2 foods and forced me to use both Riders. But that is the play we were looking for. It would have caused them to waste some mana, waste some part of their turn, which, you know, that's a cost too. It also depends what they have for a follow-up here. They have Vraska. We could negate the Vraska. Vraska comes down and kills the Borrower, I guess. Might also draw a card. I don't think we negate the Vraska. I think we negate Nissa. And possibly OKO.
Beg for mercy. Don't be surprised if we meet again.
I think Vraska, like, the 1-for-1 I think is okay. I don't think I need to be that attached to a Brazen Borrower. Don't think that's a good strategy. So, what is it? This Paradise Druid is still being frisky. I like that the opponent's being aggressive with their Paradise Druid. Too many people are conservative with it. Now we can take out this Vraska. Once we get a Murderous Rider down, it'll sort of negate this, which is what we're looking for. Ooh. With a negate open, that's a really good draw. But I think what I want to do first is Thought Erasure, while I know that there's probably some hits here. And I can play a Murderous Rider to be a blocker and still have negate up. And there is the Nissa and a Noxious Grasp that isn't going to do you much good without an OKO. So that is a beautiful sight to see those main deck Noxious Grasps actually hurting somebody for once. You have no idea how much that makes me happy. Post in comments if you like seeing people punished for main deck color hate. In best of one. Okay, in sideboarded games, I totally get it, but this is best of one. All right. And another Enter the God Eternals off the top is sweet. We're going to want to use that. But let's attack with Murderous Rider first and see what happens. And again, let's get your Goose. Target ourselves. Since we have 2 Enter the God Eternals, I really like this play because I can wait and maybe get the Paradise Druid next turn if they kill my 4/4. But we'll see. Yeah, all the food you can eat. No value on the graveyard that time, but don't really need it here. We've got the 4/4. Those Gooses, they have served up a buffet, and the opponent's starting to snack. Trying to buy time to draw out of whatever rut they're in. Get another Hydroid Krasis, probably. That's got to be their best draw. It's very hard for me to deal with. And go. I could go for another Enter the God Eternals here. That is certainly going for the Jugular. And I guess I do need to close the game before the opponent finds their Krasis. Come on, where's the Serpent? This is where you want the Lockmere to really close the game. We hit another Chemisters. Now, you might have said I should hold the land for that Chemisters. I disagree. I think we play lands, and with the Chemisters wait until we have a draw that doesn't apply or just doesn't work. I think that's what we're waiting for with these Chemisters. The Paradise Druid takes one for the team to prevent 8 damage. The food is getting eaten. The opponent is trying to buy time to draw out of this. Let's see what they get. I hope it's 3 Noxious Grasps just for the tilt. Nah. Tyrant Scorn. Interesting card to put in the deck. I'm gonna negate it. This could be a mistake. We will see. That's a scoop. The opponent doesn't give themselves a chance to draw another Tyrant Scorn. The negate tilt was too much, and we got back to 7 wins. Smashing OKOs along the way. Wow. Mythic gems, baby. This outro's got to be quick because this video has been long. Thank you so much for watching my channel. We're on a push to 40,000 YouTube subscribers. So if you enjoyed what you saw, hit the subscribe button. I play a different deck every day. That's the CGB way. Thank you for watching this video. As always, I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.